All right, today we are diving deep into a really big idea in psychology, something called social cognitive theory, from the brilliant mind of Albert Bandura. This is a game changer, folks. It's a way of understanding how we learn, how we get ourselves motivated, and how we basically become who we are. So let's jump right in. Okay, I want you to think about something for a second. How did you learn some of those first big skills in your life? I mean, really think about it. Did you read a book on shoe tying? Did someone give you a lecture on the physics of balancing a bicycle?
Yeah, probably not, right? You just watched someone. Maybe it was a parent or an older brother or sister, maybe a friend. You saw how they did it, and then you gave it a shot. This very simple but incredibly powerful idea that we learn so much just by watching, that's the absolute foundation of social cognitive theory.
So let's get into the nitty-gritty of this. We're going to talk about the core mechanic here, which is something called observational learning. And trust me, it's something you do all day, every day, probably without even thinking about it. So, observational learning is, well, it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's learning by watching a model. And that model can be almost anything. It could be a real live person showing you how to bake a cake, or it could be a character in a movie making a really tough choice. It could even be just a set of instructions someone tells you.
Now, it's not quite as simple as just see something, do something. For this to really work, Bandura said there are 4 things that have to happen. First, attention. You actually have to be paying attention to what the model is doing. Second, retention. You got to remember what you saw. It needs to stick in your brain. Third is reproduction. You have to physically be able to do the thing you saw. And last, and this is a big one, motivation. You need a reason to copy the behavior. Maybe you saw your teacher solve a math problem, and you're motivated by getting a good grade.
Okay, so this all sounds pretty intuitive, doesn't it? But how do we know this is really how it works? Well, that brings us to one of the most famous and, frankly, one of the most controversial experiments in the history of psychology. So picture this. It's 1961. Albert Bandura brings a bunch of kids into a room, one by one. In the room, there's an adult and a big, inflatable clown doll named Bobo. Some of the kids saw the adult just playing quietly. But the other kids? They watched the adult just go to town on this doll, punching it, kicking it, yelling at it. Then the adult leaves, and the child is left alone in the room with Bobo. What do you think happened next? The results were, whoa. They were absolutely shocking. The kids who saw the aggressive adult didn't just become aggressive themselves. They copied the exact same things they saw. They punched Bobo, they kicked Bobo, they even used the same insults the adult had used. And here's the mind-blowing part. They learned all of this without being rewarded or punished for it. It was proof that complex behaviors could be learned just by watching. Okay, so we learn by watching. We got it. But what's the engine driving this whole process? What's going on under the hood? Well, Bandura came up with this brilliant model that he saw as a constant 3-way street.
He called it reciprocal determinism. I know it's a mouthful, it sounds super academic, but the idea behind it is actually pretty simple. It just means that your internal thoughts, your actual behaviors, and your environment are all locked in this constant feedback loop. They're not separate things, they are constantly influencing and shaping each other.
And this little diagram here really shows what we're talking about. See the 3 parts? You've got your personal factors, that's your thoughts and feelings. You've got your behavior, that's what you actually do. And you've got your environment, the world around you. And look at those arrows. They're pointing in every direction because each part is always acting on the others. It's a dynamic dance. So let's break this loop down. First up, you have your personal factors. This is all the stuff going on inside your head, your beliefs, your values, your confidence. For example, if you have the belief, hey, I'm pretty good at math, that's a personal factor that's going to have a huge impact on what you do next. Which brings us to part 2, your behavior. That's what you actually do. So because you believe you're good at math, your behavior is to study hard for the test. You're not avoiding it. And that action creates a result, right? Maybe you ace the test. And that result feeds right back and reinforces your original belief. And that leads to the final piece of the puzzle, the environment. This is everything outside of you. So after you ace that test, your teacher praises you in front of the class. That praise is an environmental factor. And what does it do? It strengthens your belief that you're good at math, and it makes you even more likely to study hard next time. See how the whole cycle just keeps spinning? Okay, so let's zoom in on what Bandura thought was maybe the most powerful piece of this entire theory. Inside that personal factors box, there's one specific belief that he called our secret superpower for change. And it's called self-efficacy.
Put simply, self-efficacy is your belief in your own ability to succeed at something. It's not about how skilled you actually are, it's about how much you believe in your ability to use those skills. It's that little voice inside your head that says, I can do this, or I can't.
And the difference this one belief makes is it's huge. Just look at the contrast here. A person with high self-efficacy sees a tough challenge and thinks, ooh, an opportunity. They bounce back from failure. But someone with low self-efficacy, they'll actively avoid those same challenges, give up way more easily, and if they do succeed, they'll probably just write it off as dumb luck.
Now, here is the best part. This is not something you are just born with. You can build it. And Bandura gave us a roadmap. The number one most powerful way is through mastery experiences. Just succeeding at stuff, even small stuff. But you can also build it vicariously by watching somebody just like you succeed. Getting real encouragement from people you trust helps a ton. And so does learning to manage your nerves and reframe that anxiety as excitement.
So, we've gone through observational learning, that three-way feedback loop, and the superpower of self-efficacy. So what? Why does this theory that's decades old still matter so much today?
Well, because its impact is everywhere. In schools, it's why teachers model problems on the board and why group projects work. For parents, it's a huge reminder of how powerful it is to be a good role model. It's one of the cornerstones of modern therapies like cognitive behavioral therapy. And think about our world today. It perfectly explains things like social media trends and influencer culture. We see a model, we think about it, and then we imitate it. It's social learning on a massive scale.
And it's pretty cool to see how Bandura's own thinking grew over time. He started with what he called social learning theory, which focused mostly on that observation piece, the idea that the world shapes us. But he realized that wasn't the full picture. So he expanded it into social cognitive theory to really emphasize that we are not just passive sponges soaking up the world. No, we are active players. Our thoughts, especially our self-efficacy, don't just get shaped by our environment. They actively shape it right back.
So here's the bottom line. If your thoughts, your actions, and your environment are all in this constant dance, it means you're never truly stuck. It means you have 3 different doors you can walk through to change your life. You can change how you think, you can change what you do, or you can change your surroundings. The only real question is, which door are you going to open first?